way that we used to be, but what's funny is I have no complaints. I'm still a jerk, you've got that smirk like you know it all. It's not that I'm too ordinary, or maybe it is. I know my place in line. The least I can do is tell you it's all fine. I'm always late, you think I'm vain, and I know it, but let's pretend I'm human. And so are you. You fancy shampoo and you make too. It's not that I am sleep deprived, or maybe it is. I can't keep pressing snooze. I might not win, but you're the one I lose. I might not win, but you're the one I lose. I might not win, but you're the one I lose. I might not win, but you're the one. I might not win, but I might not win, but you're the one.
Great American rap resurrect. Rest in peace, young Ash. Reporting live on the set. Reporting live on the set. Yeah. First off, say peace to Pine Ridge. Shame at all the damage that the white man wine did. Ghost dance, tears, 5 million beers a year, and all that other crime did. More pieces to the teachers of blind kids, to red bells and small cells, keeping their mind big. Say everything's hostile, suicide bombers and prosperity gospels, emaciated models with cocaine and blood pouring out their nostrils. They got to, just to stay awake on the catwalk of life where everybody watch you. Straight hair, high heels, and a handbag. Crucifixes, racism, and a land grab. Katrina, FEMA trailers, human body sandbag.
Yo, what's up, everybody? How we doing? How's everybody doing this Wednesday? Lots of crazy stuff happening. I'm changing up the music because YouTube doesn't pay me at all, and honestly, I don't care if YouTube pays me at all. They've got a terrible algorithm, and I'm really just doing this because I like it, and I'm here for y'all. So, gonna talk some TA today, and then go into some forewarnings about exchanges, just some risk management stuff. To be completely honest, I'm really not worried about too much, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Start off with S&P 500, and actually, let's start off and see who's in here. Not a lot of familiar faces, but we'll say what's up. Sorry, I just got back from the gym, and I chugged a bunch of water, so I might burp here and there. What up, Uncle Chicken? Haven't seen your name in the chat, so nice to have you. And for those of you that are new, I try to live stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday around 5 p.m. Eastern time. Won't be here this Friday, going out of town. Probably be one of the last times I go out of town until the end of the year, but I'm not too sure. Not too sure. There's just nothing to do during this bear market, man. So I've been just trying to keep myself busy, stay away from trading, because God, Alameda made it really impossible to trade using a system with all the scam wicks they had. But Alameda no more. Looking at the S&P 500, you know, it's really shocking to me that people are calling for a bottom. We're still very much in a downtrend. For those of you who don't know, I also teach a trading class. It's on Tuesday, Thursdays. If you're interested, there is a Patreon link in the chat, and I believe in the description below. But first-time listener, long-time listener, first-time caller. I should do some like call-in stuff for sure. Maybe we'll have to do like another Twitter space. It's just easier to like make people speakers for a couple minutes. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe I'll do that while I'm out of town this weekend. We'll see. Probably going to do a lot of drink. I'm going to a football game. Can't say where, but going to do stuff. Anyways, told my students, guys, until we really break downtrend until we break our downtrend line. There's no sort of structure break. We're still very much just repeating what happened in 2008. I've showed it 100 times. I don't really feel like I need to show it again, but I will, just for the sake of all of you. For those of you that don't live under a rock, I'm sure you've seen the 2008 fractal about 100 times. One thing that's notable, and just from TA in general, is you have 3 descending peaks before a crash. 3 descending peaks is a very bearish reversal pattern. Ultimately, we have both. In 2022, you have 3 descending peaks. 2008, we had 3 descending peaks. Same kind of economic disaster on display. So very supported. The TA is very supported by just like macro sentiment. We know that inflation's horrible. We know that it's really not going down that much. On top of that, we have interest rate hikes, consumer debt, or consumer spending, consumer debt at all-time highs. Not necessarily spending, but consumer credit. That's the word I'm looking for. Consumer credit at all-time highs, and it's just unsustainable. Eventually, that debt needs to be paid, and if it's not paid, you're looking at a financial systemic collapse. But, I mean, all in all, kind of seeing the same, similar fractal. We had a relief bounce here, somewhat of a relief bounce here. I'm sure everyone was calling the bottom. They're saying, oh, look, we've got bullish divergence with RSI on the weekly, which, somewhat there. Definitely some here in 2022. You can see the divergence points between these two lower lows, these higher lows here. Similar here, you have equal lows. Well, somewhat equal lows, which I would consider that divergence, but it ended up just following with a market crash. Again, why we don't look at purely RSI alone. Another thing, DXY, when we get there, it's still holding macro support. It's very hard to say that any sort of sentiment has flipped when, 1, stock market hasn't broken structure, 2, DXY hasn't broken structure, and 3, the VIX hasn't even shown us a bottom sign yet. On top of all of that, nothing has really changed economically, and a lot of people think that these things change day to day. It's like an altcoin. They think it's it's going to do a 10x tomorrow. Guys, it's not what happens at all. Usually we spend a period of somewhat accumulation or somewhat sideways, even if it is very volatile. So going back to current time, yeah, nothing has changed. It's still bearish. I don't need to address more than that. Moving on to the VIX. For those of you that don't know, the VIX has marked the bottoms in bear markets. So basically, when you hit this above 45 level, you can see here 2018, the mini recession, 2020 COVID, 2015, not really sure what happened. I think like another mini recession. Regardless, I just call it like a bull market like a bull market cool off period somewhat. 2008, as you guys know, 2000 and 2002. VIX over 45 every single time. VIX is a volatility indicator. So basically, during high times of volatility, which are generally sell-offs, you see that kind of panic, that fear set in. That's what really marks the bottom. We're not even close. I believe we're 100% or close to 100%. Yeah, almost 90% from that bottom target. So we really need to hit that to really establish any sort of bottom. Does it have to, set it? No, I'm not depending on this to hit 45 for the bottom. But I am using it in Confluence. And if the S&P 500 hasn't broken structure, the VIX hasn't, bottomed, or quote-unquote bottomed, and the DXY hasn't broken structure, how on earth can anyone say that a bottom's in? Look for Confluence. What's up, you sir? How's it going? Hope you're doing good, man. Onward and next is the DXY. DXY, still in an uptrend, guys. Still very bullish. Still holding this support. Actually putting in somewhat of a higher low between these points, I believe, with bullish divergence on the weekly. Lots of bullish divergence on the weekly. In fact, heavily bullish divergence on the weekly here between these 2 points. So again, kind of surprised that people are calling for a macro reversal or a bottom when, again, nothing has really changed. When, again, nothing has broke structure, DXY, SPX, and VIX. Pretty mind-blowing. And I know everyone wants to be the hero, but at least find better reasons to be. Total, looking like a disaster. Again, S&P bearish, DXY bullish, which makes everything bearish, and VIX still not showing a bottom. So what's happening with crypto? A couple things. One, we have this whole FTX deal, which now we're seeing more and more exchanges go insolvent, more and more exchanges go bankrupt. Guys, if you're really worried or you get any wind of anything weird happening with the exchange you use, take all your money off of it. Don't be that guy that sits there and says, oh, there was all this sketchy stuff, and I just ignored it, because I hate to break this to people, but the FTX thing was sketchy the entire time. There are videos of the CEO shaking in his chair like a vibrator. There are videos or not necessarily videos, but there's evidence that Alameda was trading against their clients the whole time, the entire time. There's evidence that Tether was being printed out of thin air. It all revolved around FTX. FTX was founded in 2019. And for those of you that don't know, crypto's been around for much longer than that. So the whole FTX collapse, although it is painful, it is going to definitely leave its mark on the market. It's not going to kill the market, right? The market's been here longer than FTX. Bitcoin hit 20K before FTX was even born. So for those of you that say, oh, this is the end of crypto, this is it, this is done, da 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 da, you're just flat out wrong and you're believing FUD. Finally live so I can make it. Always miss them. Oh, I'm glad you're here, man. Glad you're here. Best regards from Poland. Yeah, I saw the Ukraine launched a missile at you guys. What's up with that? What is up with that? Why are we trying to start a war? Yes, the Ukraine, not Russia. It was confirmed that was a missile from the Ukraine. Pretty wild. I don't know if it was an accident or on purpose, but pretty crazy stuff happening right now. But anyways, back to total. Bear flag breakdown. I feel like it's pretty obvious. Sitting on some horizontal support, I'd like to see this support lost to really consider it a breakdown. We can see tested the 2017 high, some obviously some breakout retest before continuation here, as well as some support here, and now following as support again. I highly doubt this holds as support. Guys, BlockFi is about to go bankrupt. FTX is obviously screwed. On top of that, all the other 140 crypto companies or crypto-related companies that are going to go bankrupt due to FTX. It's a ticking time bomb. Now you have Genesis or Gemini. Their interests or whatever programs are now going bankrupt. Guys, get your money off exchanges that do the interest programs. I took all my money off Abra. Took all my money off Binance. Took all of my money off of pretty much everything except for Coinbase and Bitget. Made a tweet about it earlier. It's just too scary. I mean, as someone who has somewhat made it in the crypto space, made a ton of money here, definitely life-changing money. Definitely career-changing money. I don't want to lose it. I don't want to be that guy that looks back and says, wow, I should have listened to myself, or I should have listened to the warnings, because right now you're being warned. Unfortunately, myself included, I told people in Discord, don't use FTX. Don't use FTX. Don't bother with it. I think I said it a couple times on live stream and Twitter. Don't use FTX. And those were your warnings. Now we're giving warnings again. Maybe don't use Binance. Maybe don't use some of these other interest lending or interest APY, whatever programs. You know, I would suggest using Coinbase because they're insured up to 250K, but then again, who knows? I'd be careful. You don't want to lose money, especially when we're going into a macro recession. You might need that money to live. Just say car changing money. If you think the money I've made only changes my car, which I still drive the same car. I drive a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, lifted too. It's pretty cool. I'm gonna buy a truck and probably an Audi R8 soon. Gonna buy a house, the pool, Florida. Just waiting for the housing market to crash. Perfectly fine chilling here, doing nothing until it crashes. I'm not I don't need a lot of stuff. I can go travel. I can do whatever I want. Pretty cool. But anyways, total bear flag breakdown. Covered it. Tether, looking like we're battling this resistance level. If we start breaking above, we know that is very, very, very bearish for crypto. We know that Bitcoin already lost support. So in my opinion, Bitcoin just continues to drop. This will continue to break out. I feel like it's very obvious. What's the problem with Binance? It's the leading crypto exchange. Didn't they say that about FTX too? No, I mean, I really don't think Binance is in any trouble. Personally, like I think Binance is okay. They do some scummy stuff, like they have on Binance US. Totally fucked the market. Like, look at this. This is real. This scamwick is very real. From what is that, like 67,000 all the way down to 8K. Happened in 10-second time period. It stopped out a bunch of my positions, and that's part of the reason why I'm affiliated with Bitget now. But I'm not too sure. As much as an exchange says they're safe and everyone's comfortable and all this, like, You never know. So I would say maybe take some of your money off, put in your bank, anything you need, don't trade with. Where am I holding my assets? In my bank account. Like all my assets are like I don't want them going anywhere, so they're in my bank. Are you gonna make a party for us in your new house? Maybe. It depends how big it is. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. No, dude, my money's in my bank account. Like I'm not risking. You guys have to understand, I'm not someone trading with $1,000 to $10,000. I'm nearly trading with $1 million now, and I'm not going to throw away $1 million because I wanted to trade in possibly the worst trading period of all time for crypto. Yes, I believe we will recover and we'll go up and this and that, but is it really worth risking having your money or more than most of your net worth on an exchange where, you know, something could happen and you could lose it all? Guys, I'm going to give you a very small example. I used to use BlockFi. I used to have almost $100,000 in BlockFi. I was going to use them as my DCA because they have, you know, the interest. They had like automatic buying and stuff like that, so I could just set like an auto buy and just forget about it. Well, lo and behold, BlockFi goes bankrupt. But 6 months ago, BlockFi was getting investigated by the SEC, so I took all my money off it, every single dime. Took it all off. Still used their credit card because I liked it. One, it kind of looks cool. Two, I got like 3% back, which is pretty good. I didn't have any other card offer me 3% back, even though my credit's really good. So you still use their card, so I owe, you know, like $2,000 to $3,000 in like credit card debt, which I always pay, like month to month. I always pay it off all the time. It's not a huge deal, but BlockFi, the $500 worth of Bitcoin that I had from rewards, like there was literal Bitcoin. Now they get to keep that, which was rightfully mine, which they lost due to the FTX debacle, and now I'm expected to pay my $3,000 back. That's pretty fucked up. $1 million at 50 times over is a lot of money, yeah, and I don't want to lose it. I'm never going to use banks' money, not yours now. Yeah, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Banks are insured for the most part. I mean, it really depends on what bank you use, but no, it's your money, dude. It's just not even the case. The banking, and I've worked with banks, I've worked with hedge funds. Money is so easily accessible, and this is what crypto is going to end up to be. Crypto is going to be regulated like the banks are. It's going to be insured like the banks are. We just need regulation, because without regulation, no one wants to step in, because this whole FTX mess that happened is due to no regulation. And yes, I'm a big proponent. I think there needs to be regulation. One, it will actually increase the value of crypto, at least if exchanges are regulated. At least if some of these altcoin projects are regulated, these companies that come in and just like, dude, do you have any idea how many of these altcoins are just pump and dump scams that went from 0 to 1,000,000+% and then all the way back down to 0 like within the same week? It happens all the time. Wasn't the case of banks in Lebanon? Yeah, but I'm in the United States. Man, oh man, this kid is young. Man, oh man, you're not very smart. Like, RP, how many financial jobs have you worked in how many years? I'd really like to know, because I could guarantee you the last, let's see, I can guarantee you I know more about how our financial system works, how banks operate, and hedge funds too. And I like what you're saying is complete nonsense. Okay, so I don't want this. Oh, this kid is young. Oh, this kid doesn't know what he's talking about, buddy. I've worked for a hedge fund that worked with 10 different banks for over 8 years. Okay, like I don't need this. I don't need your shit. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. You're some guy that probably lives in a little like closeted cave that thinks the government's after him all the time and wears a tinfoil hat. Like, get the fuck out of my live stream. I don't need that. Yeah, I don't need a history lesson, man. Peace. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here, man. For fuck's sake, some guy with no experience telling me. I get it, I'm not 50 years old. But I'm well versed in the financial space, and I don't need your useless opinion. And to a point, Could you make us a live about hedge funds and banks? Maybe. I mean, I can, but I don't know what you'd want to hear about. I feel like it's just pretty obvious. It's not like there's some complex thing happening. Guys, money is insured. If you didn't know this, banks are absolutely insured. Yes, you basically deposit. Let's say you take $100,000 deposited in a bank, and the bank says, "Okay, we now have your $100,000," and they can take that $100,000 and loan it to other people. Yes, if that other person can't pay back on the loan, then you could potentially say, "Oh, I lost all my money." Okay, well, there are rules and regulations set up with banks now, which is why we won't have another 1929 style banking crisis, because now banks have to have a reserved amount of money. They have to be insured to an upward amount. And guys, our insurance companies, at least in the United States, I don't know what country you guys are from, but at least here in the United States, you have to be insured up to a certain amount to even bank to the nth degree, to the smallest degree possible. You have to be insured a shit ton. Our insurance companies make and have so much damn money they could be a bank on their own. Roman, the financial system is creating money out of thin air, so it's kind of BS as well. I mean, yeah, but it's still banked by the U.S. economy. And we're still seeing it being devalued. So yes, it's being created out of thin air, but its value's going down. Yes, there's more, but its value's going down. If it kept the same value, then yeah, I agree with you. Or if it just kept going up. I mean, I'm a noob. I don't know if I just have my money sitting in there and I went bankrupt. I can't read that, man. Central banks printing money isn't going to make your cash insolvent overnight. No, and the central banks don't print money. It's literally the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve, and by the way, the banks literally get money from the Federal Reserve. Think about it this way. The banks, or the Federal Reserve, which sets interest rates, loans money to the banks or gives money to the banks, which then, Federal Reserve, banks loan or get money from the Federal Reserve, which they pay an interest rate, and then the banks loan money to you and you pay a higher interest rate. That's how banks make money, and that's how the Federal Reserve makes money. So yes, it is a money lending system, a somewhat trickle down money lending system, but there's also money deposited which backs that money that's being lent. On top of, banks can't overlend, and there's so much oversight on that, and there's so much security over that. You guys don't understand. If you haven't worked in the financial space that deals with money management, you have no fucking idea what you're talking about, because there's so much oversight. It's crazy how much oversight there is, because if anything gets fucked up, it could cause a massive problem. There are audits done on hedge funds every fucking day. Every day. On banks every day. Everything is checked. Everything is licked to the T. Every single thing. I mean, you're going to hear about one thing that happened of the millions of things. So let's say one thing goes wrong, but a million things went right. That one thing is blown out of proportion. And then this little guy that came in here with his little tin hat says, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. The banks, it's the banks' money. It's the banks this or that." No, it's not. It's not. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't understand the amount of regulation, security, and money management that goes into money management. It is absurd. It is almost, I don't want to say impossible to pull off some scheme like that, but it is very, very difficult with how many parties are involved. Okay, but my money isn't in the global bank. It's in banks regulated in the United States. Up in Poland, we have up to 100,000 euro in banks, basically not reachable for most people here, so I'm calm. Yeah, that's the same thing here. It's probably up to 1 million here, though. Still, the world went to shit back in 07, 08. I mean, we recovered pretty quick. And I would argue that 2007, 2008, if it really went to shit, how do people have so much money today? Because so many people walked away from this bull market, and not just in crypto, but in the stock, in the economy, with so much money, especially after COVID, where if it really went to shit, that's the other thing, people blow things out of proportion. In 2007, 2008, I'm sure it was really bad for some industries, but other industries thrived. At least the United States, our economy is so diverse, where some, when this financial systemic crash, whatever, happens again, which it will, we basically on a 10-year credit cycle. when this crash happens, some industries will come out very profitable and some will be wiped clean. And there's a lot of companies that need to be wiped clean because they're basically run off leveraged dollars in debt. I sound quite optimistic. I'm just realistic. I'm not going to fall for all the FUD and bullshit. I mean, here's the thing. If the world really goes to shit, then everybody is fucked and we just die. Like nuclear war, right? And it won't matter what my money's worth because no one's going to be around and it doesn't matter. I'm optimistic. I'm just real. Like, it's going to be fine. People are going to come back from this. The smart people will become wealthier because they're not going to, one, put their money in exchanges that are led by people that literally vibrate in a chair. Like, when I saw that, I'm like, I'm never putting money in this guy's, like, ever. He doesn't even notice. He can't even make a sentence. He looks cringy as shit. Like, no. Unsub by. See you later, man. Like, I don't care. Oh, I was adding... Oh, no worries. I believe in the U.S. 250K. I believe it's... Over 250K, you need extra insurance. Yeah, but that insurance isn't that expensive. Good morning, or good evening from the United States, Xavier. Rico Xavier, nice to see you. Bro, this is crazy how many people think they know what they're talking about with money and they've never worked a financial job. Like, I'd like to know from the chat, if you disagree with what I say, first, before you disagree and tell me that I'm wrong, what industry do you work in? How much experience do you have in that industry? And two, if it's not financial or you haven't dealt or worked within a bank or with banks or with a hedge fund or anything like that, okay, don't give me your opinion because you don't know what you're talking about. Like, just because you can go on Google and type some stuff and read something off Reddit doesn't mean it's true, by the way. But anyways, back to TA. Bitcoin. Talked about it earlier. We've lost support. We are consolidating in a bear flag. Pretty obvious. Gave a trading call to my students, I believe 2 days ago. Yesterday, 2 days ago, to maybe short the top touch of this diagonal. See if, this is just consolidation for more down, which... Clearly looking like it. Lots of volume, dropping, sideways movement. Essentially what this does is, and I haven't opened up RSI and MACD, but essentially what this does is just allows RSI and MACD to return to that mean state, which, one, we're now starting to form bearish divergences if we go up anymore, and two, MACD is now recovered to that mean, so we can continue falling. Yes, I would also argue maybe we see some more consolidation on the daily, but RSI looks ready to continue to dip. I'm not a clue what you're talking about. I'm on the woods, northern Maine, dumb AF, but I like your channel. You sound wicked smart. Thank you. You're correct, Roman. Nothing to argue. Appreciate it. My dog is barking. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to let him inside. Sorry about that. He's a huge... Some of you guys that have seen him, he's huge. Barks loud, and I want him to piss off the neighbors. What's your bottom prediction, dude? I don't have one. What do you think about Trump 2024 and effect on the market? I'm conflicted. I think Trump has really good policies. I think you have to... And I'm going to share kind of my political views, because personally, I don't care about... Like, I don't really have a stance on abortion. I could care less. I do believe that if you have an abortion, like, you're killing a baby. I don't really care for student loan forgiveness. Why are we forgiving people for taking loans? Like, am I going to be forgiven on the loan I needed to, like, buy a house or buy a car? Like, no. I think that's bullshit. I think that, all these social issues, more or less, because student loan forgiveness for me is kind of a social issue. I think all these social issues don't really matter. I don't really care. I don't want to go too into detail. I don't want to offend people, but I don't really care too much about a lot of these social problems, and personally, I don't think they really matter. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. I don't really care about all of them. Like I just don't. I don't care. It doesn't affect one. It doesn't affect me, and two, I think it's useless. What does matter is the direction our economy is going, the money flow, and whether our economy is stable or unstable. Two, I believe that if the economy is doing well, jobs are created, opportunity is created, and the quote-unquote rise of the middle class will continue. And I know there's been this statistic that the middle class is getting smaller and smaller. I actually disagree. And I disagree for a couple reasons. One, I think people are not being versed in money, and anything can be loaned, which gives them the opportunity to go bankrupt constantly. Like they just buy too much. Like everyone has an iPhone. Why do you have an iPhone if you can't afford it? You know what I'm saying? But regardless, if Trump runs, I think he has good policies. I just wish he would shut his mouth here and there. I wish he would be a little bit better of a leader. I think he can lead fine. Like personally, I could care less about some of the things he says. But if we're talking economic standpoint, I think he'll do a phenomenal job. I think he'll create more opportunities. I think he'll do his job and make the economy right, or at least put it on a path. But from a leader standpoint, you can't be running your mouth on Twitter. You can't be, you have to set the example for people moving forward. That's what a good leader does. You don't, when Twiddle-D on Twitter is giving you shit, you can't be the guy that, you can't be the leader of the country and be like, F you, I'm gonna fuck your mother. Like, you can't do that. That's not appropriate. That's not what a leader does, especially when you're leading possibly the most important and largest country in the world. So Trump isn't wise and diplomatic. Actually, he is. He is very diplomatic. He knows how to form relationships very well, and he knows how to conduct business really well. And countries are basically giant businesses. He knows how to get things that he wants and keep relations good with everybody. I think that what people fail to see is that although, Trump went over to North Korea and shook that guy's hand, that is actually good. One, we don't have a fear of being nuked. Two, we can try and form trade or try and, you don't want enemies. Okay. We don't want to keep creating enemies, right? We don't want to keep pissing everybody off. And Trump was trying to basically conduct business, which that's what countries want. They want business. China wants to sell shit. The U.S. wants to sell shit. Russia wants to sell shit. Everyone wants a deal. Everyone wants a percentage off. And it's hard to get deals, and it's hard to get to trade negotiate when everyone thinks you're a dementia patient, right? Does Bitcoin have any chance to hit 21K again? No, it's never going to go above $16,537. That's why it just dropped to $16,534 and is now continuing to go down. Dude, yes, Bitcoin's probably going to continue to go up. Guys, it's just a normal bear market. Oh, yeah. So what I mean, Danny, is I agree with you. He says things that piss people off. And you kind of have to find a fine line of maybe being stern, and, it's okay to make people angry or make people like, man, that just irks me. But when you're just outright being a clown, like, you can't do that. That's not good. Yeah, I'd like to see DeSantis in there. I think he has the Trump economic mindset, but he's just a better, like, leader. Like, he's just, he set a really great example during COVID, and two, he's mostly kept his cool and the fuck you moments to a minimum. From Progressive Idea. Beware the bank bail-in. And, I'm not someone that's been too involved. I'm kind of disassociating myself with politics because personally, I think politicians are just corrupt pieces of shit. I just don't. I don't think I'd ever. I don't really benefit from anyone. I mean, other than maybe getting us out of this recession a little faster, but we were going in it whether Trump was president again or whether Biden's president. The only thing that pisses me off is the Democrats are completely ignoring that we're in an economic recession, and they've changed the the definition, which I think is ridiculous. No, I probably won't be building a stock portfolio. Is it possible that you don't care about social issues because you are a white male and relatively wealthy? Is it possible that it's harder to navigate social setups for those people who aren't like you? Okay, let me give you a couple things. So, yes, I'm white. It's very clear. I'm white. I'm white Italian. So a couple things for you. One, I am constantly surrounded by people that don't dress like me, do not have the same skin color as me, don't even speak the same language as me. My girlfriend's Puerto Rican. Half her family doesn't even know how to speak English. I don't even know if a lot of them are legal, which I don't even get involved with. I don't care. If they're living here, they have every right. Not that I'm agreeing that they should be here, but I'm pretty sure they're legal. Well, Puerto Rico's U.S. territory. I'm an idiot. Ignore that. But a lot of them don't speak English. A lot of them don't have much money, or they get by. A lot of my friends are. I used to box. I still do. A lot of my friends are black, inner city, into boxing. A lot of them don't even know who their dad is. Don't know. Live with a bunch of other siblings and used to live in a tight house with just their mom. I'm, surrounded, of course, by, there are wealthy people that I know that are white, black, Indian, whatever. I grew up in rural, eastern Ohio. A lot of my friends lived on farms. A lot of them didn't have money. A lot of them lost it all in 2008 and are still recovering. So I've been in and around everything. I used to live down south. I've lived in South Florida with the Cubans. I've lived in South Carolina with the white crackers, the southern rednecks. I've lived in eastern Ohio with the meth rednecks. I've lived with inner city. I've lived with I've had black roommates. I've had it all, man. Your whole statement is that I'm white, male, and relatively wealthy. I've worked very hard for everything that I've gotten. My dad owns a business, and I decided not to go into it. I did my own thing with trading. I made it on my own. I did everything on my own. I had a scholarship to college, and I went. So and by the way, it's harder to get a scholarship it's actually really, really hard to get a scholarship as a white male in college. So this whole idea that, I'm a white male and it's hard for me to navigate shit. That whole idea is just so bogus. I don't care about social issues because I don't think they matter. And I think a lot of them are made up. A lot of them are, everyone wants a free pass and an excuse. Like, I have friends that have made it more than I have, and a lot of them don't even still to this day know who their dad is. Or they've gone and pursued something that they've wanted to do. And I know a lot of people that, I have gay friends that just don't even care for the whole LGBTQ community because it embarrasses them that they make excuses and they make things up and they make terms up. We have people identifying as raccoons now. We're supposed to accept them. Like, are you kidding me? When everything crashed, I already answered that. Take a look at ETH weakness compared to Bitcoin. I'm pretty sure ETH over time, over the last 5 years, has been stronger than Bitcoin. I mean, it's nothing against Alex, right? And for those of you guys that don't know, I built my trading, my whole trading stuff on Twitter from TradingView. Actually, let's do a little bit of a deep dive. I started on TradingView. I wanted to post my ideas for people to look at, and these are ideas from a very long time ago. And I started posting in 2021, February 2021, slowly, kind of gaining some traction, getting into the ultimately the wow, I actually said 80K at one point. That sucks. Ooh. Look at that. But anyways, started posting ideas on TradingView a long time ago. And I went into the TradingView chat. And for those of you that are OGs, I mean OG, like you met me in the TradingView chat. I used to be in the TradingView chat just stirring up a ruckus, telling people like, no, this is right. This is, I learned this. And, when Bitcoin was at 65K, I was bearish. I was like, there's no shot. I built myself on TradingView, got more recognition, more likes. There's some with 1,000, 2,000, 1,300, 3,500 views at whatever. And then I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to Twitter because YouTube and Twitter have the most corrupt people on the planet. So then I went through that, you know, built following pretty quick because some people from TradingView recognized me. A lot of my posts are very accurate. Built my Discord. We had like 20 people from TradingView, which turned into 5,000 today. It's about a year and a half ago. So yes, everything I've done is self-made. Am I a white male that doesn't care about social issues? Yeah, because I think most social issues are pointless and stupid and could be avoided, especially like the whole race thing. Guys, if you want race to go away, stop mentioning it, because I believe that, yes, there are going to be some wacko people out there that are racist, and you just can't do anything about that. That's how they were born. You're not going to change their mind. That's just how it is. But also, you know, I think everybody looks at someone and says, no, you're a person and I respect you, until you give them a reason not to. So no worries. I believe that every man should learn how to fight. I think that combat sports teaches you a lot, and part of that is just how to lose and not lose your cool. I think it definitely makes you, you know, obviously makes you tougher, stronger, teaches you discipline. Like I used to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Teaches you a lot of discipline. You know, the smallest guy in the room can kick your ass, and it just kind of like humbles you. I think a lot of people would benefit from it for sure. I think it would definitely be a positive thing for society if people learned Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or just learned some like principles from fighting, because like not necessarily like fight like street fighting, like, you know, like boxing or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, whatever, because you learn discipline, you learn you know, you can really only count on yourself in wrestling. You know, obviously you have a team and a coach and everything, but you learn that your hard work pays off if you work hard. And when you're in a team sport, it's easy to get away. You know, you don't show up to a lifting here and there. You don't do this or that, or you can blame other people. Well, in boxing, the only person you can blame is yourself. So. Yes, we are definitely living in a world where politics can easily produce division between people. And I will say this. It is... I more or less have a middle ground in politics. I'm obviously, you know, fiscally conservative. Socially, I wouldn't say I'm like liberal, but for issues I just don't really care or take a stance on, because I just don't really care. It just doesn't. If it doesn't bother me, I don't really care. I will say, don't touch my guns or I will shoot you. I keep those. Those stay with me. I am not taking chances with that. But yeah, I'd say that people, you know, argue a lot. Definitely. All right, let's look at Ethereum, since someone asked about Ethereum. A couple things. Looks like we lost daily. We lost daily support and have retested it several different times over the last 6-7 days. I'm still expecting this $1,000 area to get tagged. I don't see any reason why it doesn't. TA, it should end here by probably the end of next week. Could happen as early as tomorrow or Friday. ETH long term. As long as, I mean, it's a deflationary asset now. As long as Vitalik doesn't fuck it up. I know JP Morgan's interested in Ethereum. JP Morgan's one of the largest banks on the planet. So, I have high views in ETH. Like, I DCA ETH. I think it's a worthwhile long-term investment. Now, will it possibly see $500 for an ETH? Yeah. Will I be buying? Absolutely. Absolutely. But one last thought I wanted to give, and I kind of gave this at the beginning of the stream. First and foremost, a couple thoughts. First and foremost, if you're new, I appreciate you being here. Would really appreciate a like and subscribe. It helps with the algorithm, and it'll notify you when I go live. I try to go live Monday, Wednesday, Friday around 5 p.m. Eastern. It's pretty much an unfiltered TA. Sometimes talk about different stuff. We have a Discord as well. It's free. You can join. Lots of information. You can discuss pretty much anything. It's a pretty good crowd of people. If you're an idiot, like not an idiot in the spec that, you know, you don't know anything. It's if you act like an idiot, if you act like an immature piece of shit, we're going to kick you because we filter our Discord. Aside from that, those couple things, wanted to talk about exchanges because I tweeted earlier today that I'm taking off a lot of my funds, which I am actively doing so. A couple reasons. One, I don't think that Bitget, Coinbase, and Binance, the three exchanges that I use, mostly Bitget. You guys know I trade with Bitget. I'm affiliated with them. I love Bitget. I love the trading platform, but I keep money stored on Coinbase and Binance just in case I need to move it or make a bigger trade, yada, yada. It's better to stay diverse in a risk management aspect. Anyways, I don't believe these exchanges will go anywhere. However, it is better to be safe than sorry. I took about 3/4 of the funds that I had on exchanges off. So about a quarter left to trade with. Of my DCA portfolio, I took it all off. It's all in my bank account. Anything I'm buying will be... And that was sitting in Abra, gaining interest. And I don't think anything will happen with Abra, but I'm not taking any chances, especially with all these APY-type interest-earning platforms going bankrupt. I'm not taking any chances. I'm not losing any money because that's just not happening. But on top of all of that, guys... If you're worried about it, if you use an exchange and you're hearing rumors or it has an interest-earning platform, take some of it off because you might need that money in the coming months because we're more than likely going to see some sort of economic collapse. Briefly, not forever. I don't follow CME futures gaps because they're not useful. Bitcoin moves very volatile, like with a lot of volatility. So the idea of these gaps always filling, they're always going to fill, always. And there's going to be gaps that are unfilled because we just pump too hard. I don't really care for those. All right, guys. I'm not going to be here Friday, going out of town. So be patient, use risk management. Good luck trading.